Good morning, everyone. Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Perfect.
Hey everyone, this is Damian coming to you from Ignite 2017 in Orlando, and I'm joined by Thomson, who is from the Git team in Visual Studio Team Services, correct?
That's right.
Excellent. So I've spoken to a lot of people in the past, in my current life at Microsoft and in previous lives doing consulting, and some of them have the perception that TFS and VSTS mean Team Foundation version control.
Sure.
Right. Can you help me get rid of that belief?
I can.
Yeah.
So, and it's an understandable belief. I'm totally sympathetic because when we first introduced Team Foundation Server in 2005, it came with a centralized version control system.
Right.
And actually it came with kind of a clunky, if you will, version control system. You had to explicitly check out your files before you edited them, right?
Of course, yeah.
It's called a checkout, edit, check-in type of system.
Sure.
And that was the only system we offered. So a lot of people who have only seen Team Foundation Server 20, 2005 or 2008 would be, under the impression that that's the only thing we offer, and it's totally understandable. We've offered another type of centralized version control system since then. It's called an edit, merge, commit system. I won't bore you with the details, but it actually scans the files looking for your changes, so it's a little more flexible.
Okay.
And then in 2013, we offered Git support.
Right.
So now in Team Foundation Server, you can either host in the centralized system in Team Foundation version control, or you can use Git. And that's also true in our Azure-powered cloud offering, Visual Studio Team Services.
Okay, sure. So I get the choice when I start a new team project of using Team Foundation version control or Git?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Am I locked into that choice? Like, is that once I make that decision, I can't make any changes? I can't use Git if I'm already using TFVC?
No, in fact you can. So with a team project, you can have either Team Foundation version control or a Git repository, or more Git repositories, or any combination. So you can have both TFVC, the centralized system, and Git. And a lot of people do that while they're perhaps migrating their code base out of TFVC and into Git repositories.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I've heard as well that Microsoft has moved a lot of their dev teams to VSTS.
That's right.
And are they using Git in general as well?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
Okay.
so it's an undertaking we're calling One Engineering System. We're trying to standardize Microsoft on Visual Studio Team Services.
Okay.
And it's been a real challenge, to be honest with you, because some of the teams at Microsoft have been writing code for a long time, like the Windows team.
Yep.
And so you've got some very large repositories on the Windows team. In fact, we used to build our own version control system called Source Depot just to handle the Windows team.
Right.
And we grew out of it.
So you said the Windows team, right? How big is their repository?
Their repository is about 300 gigabytes.
And that's source code is 300 gigabytes.
Source code, some build tools, all of this stuff, the things that go into creating the Windows that you install is 300 gigabytes.
Is this just because of the history, or?
That's part of it, but also Windows is in a mono repo. It's in one monolithic repository, and Windows is kind of one of the biggest mono repos. In fact, now it's the biggest Git repository because Windows includes everything. So Windows Server, the Windows that you install, Windows Enterprise.
Sure.
Xbox is in the Windows repository.
Right.
All the drivers, all the applications that go into a typical install. We all want to version them together because they get released together. And, and so you wouldn't want to split that up into multiple repositories because, checking in things across repositories is a real pain. Plus, how do you split up a 300 gigabyte repository? Do you split it up into 301 gigabyte repositories?
Yeah.
That's still huge.
So how does Git manage to handle that kind of scale?
Right. Well, it doesn't, not by itself anyway.
Okay.
So the Visual Studio Team Services team and the Windows team together built a tool called GVFS.
Okay.
It's the Git virtual file system, and what it does is, normally when you clone a Git repository, you get all the files at the latest version as well as all of their history.
Okay.
And you can do things like shallow clone to remove history, and that makes the download a little bit smaller, but still not small enough for the Windows team. So GVFS is really novel in that instead of downloading all that data, you just don't. When you clone a GVFS repository, you just get the metadata about the repository. You get the structure. You get a list of the files that exist, and that's it. You don't get the files themselves.
Okay.
And then the Windows team, this is where they came in, they created some magic called the GVFS driver. and it sits between the file system and your applications. And the applications just talk to the file system like normal, so they don't need to know anything's going on. So when you navigate through in Windows Explorer, you see these files. You see that they exist, and when you double click on it to open it or when you try to build it, that's when it actually downloads it from Visual Studio Team Services and puts it on disk for you. And that little bit, it seems like it would be really slow, but it's not, because most people aren't working on all 300 gigabytes. In fact, nobody is.
Yes.
So you don't need the Xbox source code if you're just working on a change to Notepad.
Yep.
So it's really the game changer that allowed the Windows team to move to Git.
And because they're using Git, it's just Git commands and like just Git.
It's just Git. They actually use a just slightly modified version of Git for Windows, and we're bringing those modifications back. So, we're making them in our own custom fork of Git for Windows. We're just validating them, and this is just stuff to make sure that you can handle a repository that has this many files in it.
Sure.
And we're sending those changes back to Git because, of course, it's an open source project, and we want to be good open source citizens. But otherwise, no, it's just Git.
So one of the things with Git in in VSTS, I'm definitely going to do that again, I'm sure, in TFS and VSTS, is it's just Git, right? It's the same Git commands. It's not Microsoft flavored Git. It's Git.
Right. Yeah. You can absolutely use any Git command, any Git client. So Git itself, of course, just the command line client. Any of the libraries that support Git, like JGit and libgit2. You can use the great Git UI clients like GitKraken and Gmaster. All just work against Visual Studio Team Services.
Okay, and not just in Windows either. Like,
of course,
everything.
Everything. Yeah. So yeah, Mac, Linux, Sun OS, HPUX, you name it. If you've got Git running on it, it will talk to Visual Studio Team Services.
Wow, that is very cool.
It is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending the time with me to help dispel these beliefs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.